Hey guys, welcome to day 2 of your 30-day Disney nail art challenge. If you haven't watched day 1 yet, please go back and do so because it does cover some hints and tips that we will not be covering again today. And I did promise you that your intros are not going to be as long as the one yesterday, so without further ado, let's get started with our Mickey Mouse number 2. Okay, so we are going to get started with our skin color. Now, we did cover this in yesterday's video, so we are going to do a really quick recap. And if you want to pop into day 1 of the video to check out how to set your tray up, I have popped a link in the description so that you can find it nice and easily. So in order to make up your skin color, you are going to mix half white, half yellow, and a tiny smidge of red, and you are going to give that a really good mix up to make sure everything is mixed together perfectly. Once you've got that mixed up, you're going to test it on the back of your hand or on a paint palette just to check out the colour and make sure it's what you want. Now my first mix is a little bit too yellow, so I'm going to add a little bit more white to it just to lighten it down a little bit. Now if you'd like to check out any of the products that I recommend, whether it is your paint or your brushes, I have added links in the description below for products that I like to use. So we are going to test this again on the back of my hand beside the other one just to see if I am now happy with the colour, and you can see that that is a little bit more creamier, so yes, I am happy with that. Once you've got that done, you need to add some water to your paint to make sure that your paint stays moist and stays fluid. And now it is time to start painting our Mickey Mouse head. So we are doing a front-facing Mickey Mouse on this nail. And we are going to start off with painting a love heart shape about 3/4 of the way up the nail. It doesn't need to be perfect, so don't panic if your love heart is slightly lopsided. We can alter it later on. Again, take your time when you are painting this. Everything that you do, the more time you spend, the easier your design will be to create and the better it will look at the end. About halfway down the nail, you are going to draw 2 egg shapes, one on either side, and that is going to be Mickey Mouse's little fat cheeks. And then you are going to drag those 2 cheeks across the bottom of the nail to meet, and that is the bottom of his face. Finally, you are going to add a little half moon to the very bottom just for his mouth. And then you are going to colour it in. So you want to fill in his whole head, and then once you have that filled in, you want to wait for it to fully dry before moving on. So again, remember we said that you are better off trying to do 2 characters at a time, so one can be drying as you're working on the second. Once your first layer is fully dry, you are going to add a second layer of colour. So you can see I'm really quickly just going over everything that I've already done, paying particular attention to anywhere that looks a little bit more see-through than anywhere else. Don't forget to add your pictures to our Facebook group, guys. The link is in the description. Please use the hashtag Disney Nail Art Challenge when sharing your work on social media. Now we are going to need some black and white, so we are going to add them to the palette. You can see I'm adding them to the damp pieces of paper, not the dry bits. So this Mickey is going to have a winky face. So for the first eye, we are just going to draw an egg. So just like we did on day 1, we are going to draw an egg for his eye. Once you've got your egg drawn in, you are going to fill it in with white paint. If you can see through your white, add a second layer of white once that's dry. If not, 1 layer is fine. We are going to move on to outlining Mickey's head. So this follows the same idea as from video 1. We are just drawing a black outline all the way around his head. I am going to speed this clip up a little bit because I took my time doing this to make sure that I did it perfectly. And obviously you guys will still be able to see everything happen, but you do not need to watch me sit here outlining his head for 5 minutes. So you can see I'm working from the top down, but it doesn't matter where you start and where you finish. Ideally try and do it in such a way that you don't stick your finger in your paint when it is wet, which is a lovely habit that I have. Okay, so moving on to the top of his head. He does have a round head, so we are going to draw a round line at the top of his head, and we are going to bring it all the way down to the sides of the cheeks. Leave the cheeks sticking out a little bit further than the head though, you don't want to completely fill them in. So again, you can see me drag that line right down the side of his head, and that thickens up the black line at the side of his eyes there as well. Once you have that done, you are going to fill in the top of his head and make it a little bit rounder if you need to. So I'm making mine a little bit rounder at the top. And you can see his face really coming together now. Okay, so we are going to move on to Mickey Mouse's ears. So all you got to do for his ears are paint 2 balls on the top of his head, one on either side. So you've got 2 little round shapes, and you are going to fill them in with your black paint. Usually when you're using black, 1 layer is enough, but like that, if you can see any of your nail color underneath, so the red in my case, you can add a 2nd layer to make sure that that is totally covered up. Okay, so when his ears are done, we are going to move on to his nose. Now, generally Mickey Mouse's nose does stick out a little bit, but we are working on a flat surface. So we are going to add a little line, a little kind of semicircle line across the top of his nose, just to kind of symbolize a shadow and to symbolize that his nose does stick forward a little bit. And then we are going to draw his actual nose underneath, and his actual nose is an egg shape. So we've got lots of egg shapes going on in our Mickey Mouse. And once you've got your egg-shaped nose drawn in, you are going to fill it in. If you need to learn how to touch up anything that you've done with acrylic paint, please pop into the first video in the series, and I do explain how to do touch-ups in that video. The link for the first video is in the description. Okay, so we are going to move on and give him his little winky eye. So we are going to draw a little semicircle, kind of like a sideways comma, and we are going to give it 2 little flicks at the end for eyelashes. Then we are going to draw in 2 little lines facing in towards this eye, just to show little creases in his face to show that he is winking. Once you're happy with his little winky face, we are going to move on and outline his other eye. So when you're outlining this eye, you are going to bring his outline right down to the little line that you drew for his nose earlier on. So the little shadow line that we drew over his nose, and you're going to wrap up and around, and you're going to touch it again on the other side. And then finally we are going to draw another egg shape for his eyeball. So when you are painting a forward-facing face, if you draw the eyeball right in the center, that means that the eye is looking straight at us. If you draw it to one side, it means the eyes are looking over in that direction. Okay, so we are going to need some pink for his mouth. So we are going to mix up a little bit of red and a little bit of white. And we are going to give that a really good mixture. Now I've not added enough white in there, so I am going to add a little bit more. And then we're going to give it another good mix up, and I am going to then apply my water to my paint to keep it nice and moist and fluid. So for his mouth, we are going to paint a half moon down the bottom of his face, dipping slightly into the chin area. So again, you can see I am really taking my time when I do this, and I can add in little bits if I need to. Again, for tips on doing any touch-ups, if you make a mistake, please check out the first video where we do talk about doing touch-ups, and we do a little example of how to fix mistakes. So you can see I'm making that mouth a little bit wider. And then while I am waiting for his mouth to dry, we are going to move on and draw in the outline of his body. We are doing this in black, and we are doing it at the bottom of his chin in 2 little curvy lines. If you want to just leave him as a head, you can do that. You don't have to do his body, but I do like on a full piece like this to add in a little bit of their body. And you're just going to colour it in then in black. And you want to make sure you can't see the red from the nail through the black at all anywhere. Once you've got that done, we are going to move on to outlining his mouth. Now he is Mickey Mouse, so he has a really big smile. So we are going to start right up in his cheek area. And we are going to draw down our curved line in a super happy smiley face right across the top of the pink mouth that we drew earlier on, and then back up into the other cheek area. On both sides of this, you are going to draw a little happy cheek, so 2 little small commas on either side. And once you've got them in, you are going to do the bottom half of his mouth. So you're going to start your second curve halfway between his little corner cheek bits and the pink part of his mouth. And you're going to drag it right down underneath the pink part of his mouth and back up the other side. Again, don't panic if you make a mistake, you can easily touch it up. Okay, and the last things then that we got to do is we need to add a little bit of white to the tip of his nose, just to add a little bit of a reflection to it. And then what we want to do is add in 2 little lines inside his body just to show off where his arms would have been. And that's it, he is done. So all you need to do now is wait for him to dry and top coat. Make sure you perfectly top coat every single bit of him, or he will wipe off once you wipe your finished nail with your alcohol. So these are our first 2 days of our challenge side by side. I do hope you enjoyed them. And let's have a little look at them with top coat on, so you can see all of your paint strokes do disappear once they are top coated. Thank you for joining me on day 2 of our 30-day Disney Nail Art Challenge. Let's see what you created inside the Facebook group. The link is in the description, and don't forget to hashtag Disney Nail Art Challenge if you are sharing your work on social media. Also, don't forget there are step-by-step pictures of all of the designs that we are going to do inside the Facebook group. They will be uploaded on a daily basis as the video goes into the group. So if you prefer working with pictures, you will find the pictures in the group. Please hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed today's video and you would like to see some more. It will really help me grow my YouTube channel, and I will love you forever for it. I will see all of you guys tomorrow for day 3, which will be our easy Minnie Mouse. Thanks so much for watching, guys. See you later.